still in the pits.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another edition of the Rwagnation Online League Grand Prix here in Italy. I'm Ben Raggan McConnell, and joining me today is a very special guest, is Jess Games. How are you doing?
Hi Ben, I'm doing alright, and I'm absolutely hyped to commentate on this lovely league you guys set up here. We're in Monza tonight, so should be a cracker.
Yep, tons of DRS zones, tons of chicanes, loads of overtaking opportunities, and loads of fun and games to be expected here on track. So that is actually the track right there. 11 turns in total, 5.793 kilometers, 2 DRS zones, and tons of overtaking opportunity. Like I say, the main one will be going into turn 1. It's going to be a heavy lockup zone. It's going to need to make sure that you maximize the depth and dive as you're going into it, and if you can pull it off right, you can actually gain yourself a position. So some interesting facts here for you. The Italian and the British Grand Prix are the only Formula 1 World Championship Grand Prix staged continuously since the championship was introduced in 1950, and it was designated the European Grand Prix 7 times between 1923 and 1967, when this title was an honorary designation given each year in the Grand Prix. Last year's pole time was 1:19.119. It was set by the Iceman himself, and let's see if we can beat that today. We do have a hot lap here. This is a wet, and actually this is a world record lap done by our very own Nickturn. So as you can see, this is the long home straight going up towards turn 1. Obviously in the wet conditions you will need to brake a lot earlier to make sure you don't lock up and go sliding through the corners. He manages to cut them both beautifully, keeping himself on track nicely. That was 1 and 2 done. Long right-hander here for 3. You wouldn't believe it, but this is all one huge turn. And then you come up to the chicane. You need to watch out on the right-hand side. You've got the 150 meter board. You want to brake just between the two. Get some nice braking zones there into this little chicane there for 4 and 5. Now coming up to the Lesmos, as they are more formally known. And this is turn 6 here. If you can get this one right and keep yourself out of the gravel there, you get a nice exit. Get yourself charged up for turn 7 as you're going on to the second Lesmo. And now our drive out of this corner is crucial. The DRS zone here obviously plays a massive factor, and with it being such a long straight, any extra advantage you get from the exit of the corner will really help you out massively. Coming into now the next chicane, coming on to Ascari, and this is where we see a lot of drivers, particularly the Beaker. Traditionally, he's actually lost his back end here a lot of times, and if he's going to bin it this race, that'll be where it is. And you're coming up now to the final corner, turn 11 here. It's a long right-hander. You don't want to get on the power too early because you like to send yourself a bit wide, but you don't want to get it too late, otherwise you'll be losing some very, very valuable seconds. And off Nickturn goes. And like I say, that was the world record time in Italy. But we're now in the actual race. And just normally what I tend to do when it comes to the starts of these races, I normally ask my co-commentator, I chuck them under the bus, right? And I say, okay, where's your top 3 podium predictions? Obviously, you don't know these drivers too well. So what I'm going to ask is, I'm going to ask you to look at the names whilst I'm giving you my prediction. And I want you to base your top 3 prediction purely on names alone. So no pressure. But I'm going to go with my top 3 now. So, Nickturn has been driving like an absolute madman lately. He's been, in terms of pace and performance, he's been so consistent, so quick, and I fully expect him to be up there. As you've just seen, he just did the fastest ever in the world for the wet lap time around this track, so he's ready for any conditions. And I do think that he's going to be P1 here today. P2, it's going to be a bit tougher. If Rainer was here, I'd have said Rainer, but he's not. So it can actually go to a few people. Meister is someone I would put up there in the podium. Beak has been putting a lot of time in. He's actually been celebrating on a few occasions today to tell me that he has got enough pace to be up there with the big boys and take a P2, maybe even a P1 if he really pushes it. But I'm going to put him in P3 and I'm going to put Meister in P2. So just to run down again, that's a Nickturn, Meister, and then Beaker for my top 3. But now, based on names alone, what is your top 3?
It's a tough call, but actually seeing Ethnic, or however you say his name, I'm rubbish with names, I do apologise. I think he's going to do quite well, so I think I would agree on him actually taking the win today. I'm probably going to be an idiot if I don't think it is. And I would say Beaker P2, because I think I did overtakes on him on Friday, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I've seen he's done quite well with getting moves done and stuff. So I'll say Beaker P2. And the others I don't know. I think I'm going to put Hazard P3, I think. That's going to be my guess anyway. So
that's actually not a bad top 3 prediction. I mean, the thing you think about when it comes to Hazard is he's not someone you look at in qualifying to be blisteringly quick. Oh, that's crucial there. Rexon getting a 5 place grid penalty for colliding with Beaker. There's a possibility that Beaker would have also got the same penalty as a result of that. There is quite an occasion where in this game, if you see a collision like that where one driver gets a 5 place grid penalty, usually the other one gets the exact same, but you don't see them both because they overlap each other. So we'll see. We'll see if that actually played a factor. But yeah, just going back to Hazard. Hazard is the sort of driver who's not really wanting to be able to take sort of P1 positions on qualifying, but when it comes to the race pace, that's where he comes into his element. We call him Captain Consistency, just purely because he's able to keep himself out of penalties and keep himself out of trouble with contact of drivers on the track. So keep an eye out for him to be able to jump up into a podium position in the race, and we'll see how he does going through as the first lap times are coming in.
Yes, and not some bad lap times we are seeing on track at the moment. We got 3 options of tyres today, super soft, softs and mediums. I swear every track I've been commentating on this week it's that tyre compound, so it must be a sign somewhere. But I think it's one of those tracks where the super softs can last a bit longer than most tracks, so potentially one stop is definitely possible on the supers to softs. So that's why a lot of people are on the super softs at the moment. So I don't think we'll see much people on the mediums unless they have much damage or anything like that. So unless they can't find much time, I think if you want to get a good lap in, probably the super softs is the way to go, I think. Yeah,
absolutely. So Tiernamo is our first retirement on the track. He did lose it on the exit of Ascari and actually rolled down the hill quite a fair bit. So he is no longer going to be able to partake in this qualifying session. He will be dead last, providing the other drivers below him actually put a lap time in, which I do fully expect. And Nick Turn, he's still in the pits, not yet out on track. Something else to keep an eye out for is Nick Turn and Copy. They do like to give each other the toe when it comes to long DRS straight tracks. So I fully expect to be seeing them helping each other out where they can. And I'm just looking at Tiernimo's teammate now in Oddball Gamer. He is coming through into Ascari. Hopefully he can keep it together, and he does. He doesn't look particularly fast though.
No, I think he's just trying to warm up his ERS. I think he's just getting a feel for the track, I think, at the moment. I think he'll probably blast our timing screens like later on. So let's see what... No, it's not going to be fast at all, but it's still 7th at the moment. We're not seeing representative lap times, so... And Valsetti has just retired there. I think has he got quali ban? Or has he just bottled his lap?
Nope, he just bottled his lap. He doesn't have any quali bans that I'm aware of. He might have a quali ban. I was informed earlier that there was no penalties, so I could be wrong. But Valsetti's out of the qualifying session either way. He won't be able to partake either, so he's going to be there down in dead last. Bit of car traffic coming up there, so Nick Turn getting out of the way. So he's out on track now, and you can see Copy is coming too. I don't think that Nick Turn is going to be waiting for him. I think he's purely going to be setting himself up a little bit of gap as Meister goes fastest again with a 1:19.478.
That is pretty good, and I can expect he can improve on that. And I think Ethnic is going to start his flyer at the moment, and I think Copy is just about to go through Parabolica as he's going to start setting his first lap time, unless it got invalidated, which I don't think it has. No, because he's got his DRS flap closed, so I don't think it's a lap. So yep, he's on the lap as well. So I won't be surprised if they'll be helping each other out either way, even if it's on the final lap.
Yep, so Mizzo has improved. He's gone fastest now. He's really raised the bar up quite considerably. 1:18.954 on the super soft tyre. Obviously, the drivers will be looking to put as quick a time as they possibly can in, but again, like you were saying earlier, strategy is going to play a massive factor here, especially on this track. You may actually remember, I think it was last year in particular, when Kimi Räikkönen was on this track, and he was doing such a good job battling alongside Hamilton. and his tyres just fell apart so severely that he lost all the way down. I think it was P3 ended up finishing, maybe even been P4 if I remember correctly, but it kind of just shows just how much you need to look after your tyres on this track. Yes, it is a lot of straights, but it is still a lot of straights that you are going to need to still manage your tyres through the corners. Ascari in particular is probably going to be the main point where you're going to lose a lot of tyre performance.
Yes, especially there was one point where a lot of people can crash out as well. So if they put too much power in, then it's probably going to cost them. So I think it's very important to don't put full throttle until you get almost past that little kink towards the straight. So otherwise it could cost you. Because most of the track you can go full throttle anyway. As most drivers actually tend to like this track, they tend to use it a lot in time trial quite a lot as well. So they've been practicing quite a bit here, and it should be a lot of fun. But if they're not careful, then the super softs could die pretty quickly. So but they have changed the tyre wear a little bit. So I haven't seen much races in Monza where the tyre wear has changed due to the patch or anything. So we wonder how long the tyres will last here, as we've still got a few people still on laps. I think we've got I don't know how you say his name. I think no, it's not him. I can't remember. But anyway, I think we've got Brownie on the lap as well. He's just going through a Scari now, and I wonder if he's gonna not bottle that. No, he is not. He's getting the power in pretty quickly. I'm not entirely sure if it's a lap though, because again he's going into the pits. So I swear every time I follow someone, he's going into the pits. That's just me, but we'll just see what Brownie does. Yeah, he is actually saying a lap, so let's see what he can do. He comes across the line, he's third, so he's around about, if I just go to leader, there we go, 2 tenths behind Mizzo on pole at the moment, so not a bad lap time. We could expect him to go even quicker as he goes into the pits to do his couple more stints.
So, a lot of drivers starting to really push the boat out for each other and really raise the bar and keep chopping at each other's time, seeing who can get the better time. Brownie, like you say, just did a 1:19.226, so he's up there in P3. And Nick Turn is in the pit, so he's not going to be able to improve in the minute. Whoa, that was a very wide line there for Buemels. He's currently on the final straight before the last corner. It's not going to be the quickest time. He's had a lot of traffic throughout, especially Beaker was in the way at one point. So our previous Drivers' World Champion for the Rwagnation Season 1, which was Beaker. He's not yet put a lap time in. He's down there in P16, and Buemels does cross the line. He's still done a really respectable time. He's done a 1:19.614, and I think with a bit of fresh air and maybe an open track, I think he'd maybe be able to improve. Here comes Gooby. He's done a 1:20.678. I think he's actually just started his hot lap. Yeah, I think he has indeed. Okay, here he goes into turn 1. It's about this exit here. This is the ultimate sort of pressure point for most drivers. If you get a good exit there, because you've got such a long right-hander and that little straight going into the kink and of the chicane. Sorry, that's the main factor where he's going to need to make sure he gets a good line. He's got traffic up ahead that's just chilling, getting in the way. Is he going to be out of the way in time for Gooby? Gooby's going to be worried a little bit. Adds a little bit of pressure, even as a driver. Just trying to keep a clean line. You got to also keep an eye on the track, the car ahead of you. There's just chilling, getting very nicely out of the way. Good guy, just chilling, and off goes Gooby.
Yes,
so,
he's
go on.
Sorry. Yeah, so he's really getting the power and going into a Scari now. So I think just chilling. It's already pulling away, so he's going to get a bit of a slipstream, maybe a bit of a toe, so just have to wait and see what happens here as he goes towards Parabolic Canal, braking just before the 50-meter balls. He now got Bremels right in front of him as well. I wonder if he's on a lap. No, he's not. He's going into the pit, and he's moved out of the way just for him. So he comes across the line now. He is 8th fastest. He improves by 9 tenths, so pretty good lap from Gooby.
Yeah, it's a really, really respectable time from him as well. He's actually improved massively since I first started racing with him about 8 or 9 months ago. Just Chillin is another person who's improved tremendously since I started racing with him. He's actually someone you can easily contend with the front runners in the race pace. His lap times in qualifying, they do leave a lot to be desired, but you know, let's not take anything away from him. Qualifying is only setting you up for the best race you can have. the race itself is where all points are managed, and if just Chillin's able to get himself up there in some really valuable points positions, that's obviously going to play a huge factor in his contribution towards the Drivers' World Championship.
Yes, and this is one of the tracks where usually track position is, well, it is key, but maybe sometimes starting on pole could put it at a disadvantage, because you have P2 and P3. They are willing to go through the start line, and they can get some slipstream for the car in front, so they can possibly get the move done into turn 1 and possibly overtake them on the hairpin going into there, because it's one of those kind of tracks where slipstream and DRS is quite key, as I think Just Chillin is about to finish his lap. He almost went a little bit off the circuit there, but that's not going to cost him a lot. He is going to set a 119.9. It puts him 10th for the moment, but if he drops down lower than 10th, he's going to get free choice of tyres. But he'll probably stay on the super softs anyway.
He will indeed. I think, to be honest, I think most of the drivers here will actually be going on the super softs. They are still quite a hard compound in general anyway. They're not like the hyper softs, which seem to just disintegrate on any track they're on. The ultra softs obviously been a much better tyre, but those tyres are not available here at Italy. It is the super soft being the softest of the 3 compounds available here today, like you said earlier. Super soft, softs and mediums. And I think realistically you can take the super softs far enough for you to be able to do a one stop and go on the mediums. And it's not even really going to be that much of a struggle. So I don't expect to be seeing anyone in the top 10 trying to do any sort of softs or mediums times. I think they will be just purely going on the super softs. Now, when it comes to the actual race, obviously those outside of the top 10 do get the opportunity to choose their tyres and get a perfectly brand new set. I think they will be going for the medium compound and then pushing themselves for the super softs. It does seem to be that starting on the hardest compound in the race is actually more beneficial to you towards the end of the race, as when you get on those softer compounds, everyone else's tyres are going to be already in pretty bad situations, but your tyres will be brand spanking new. They'll be the fastest tyre on the track, and you'll be able to just blitz it round as quick as you can possibly do, and hopefully get yourself some points positions.
Yes, as I have found a couple of times when I was watching Russia as well, the hypersofts I think could last for about up to 10 laps. So it's one of those tracks where the softest compound could be pretty much the best. And we just had something under investigation. Rexon and Beaker. Rexon under investigation for unsafe return to the track. So this will be investigated after the race due to the fact there's only one steward there tonight. So things are not looking too good for Rexon down in P15 at the moment, so he's got some making up to do, and he's not going to be happy that he's under investigation then.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, Rexon is a good driver in most of the cases. He just gets a little bit overexcited sometimes, especially when he's got an opportunity to overtake some of the big boys. And that's kind of where he seems to struggle at reining it in a little bit. He needs to keep his mentality in check, keep his aggression in check so he doesn't end up getting himself in trouble. And whilst he's had a good run, hopefully he can get himself further up the field so he doesn't start dead last as a result of his 5-place grid penalty. But like I say, that will be investigated after the race, as we will be doing this. So, for anybody who is brand new to any sort of racing leagues in Formula 1 2018, it is a 50% race, so that's half the race distance that you would see in the official Formula 1 calendar. They will also be doing a short qualifying, which is what they're doing right now, which is 18 minutes of qualifying. There's no Q2 or Q3. It's all just one long qualifying session. When this is finished, where the drivers finish will be how they start in the race. Obviously, in the top 10, they're the ones who've got to start on the compound tyre that they're on right now, or whichever one they set the fastest lap time on, sorry. And then those outside of the top 10 will get to be able to choose what they want and also help themselves to the race strategy of their choosing. Obviously, the drivers up ahead will be able to choose the fuel that they start on and how many stints they want to do, but purely they will be going toe-to-toe with each other as like 2 big packs, if you like.
Yes, and that's what I found with fuel. Usually it is important to save up, possibly towards the end. I've seen people in league races that go on to the rich mix pretty early on, and then when it gets to halfway through the race, they're like, hang on, the yellow warning light comes on. So you just got to be a bit wary on that. In particular, Italy, it's pretty much a fuel consumption track. So yeah, there's a lot of straights to get the rich mix in. But as long as they're not using it for the whole lap, it should be all right. Unless they're doing like the fastest lap towards the end, if there's people at the bottom of the pack. But that's what I found in Italy. I've used rich mix quite a lot. It got to almost the end. I was out of fuel, had to go on to lean mixture, and it kind of cost me a little bit there. So it's important to get the balance right, as otherwise it could cost you.
It can indeed. So this is the final stages of the race. There are 37 seconds remaining of this session. The drivers will all be out on track doing their best attempt now for the final run in qualifying. The other thing to think about is that the track has now evolved to its best situation. Is going to be all qualifying long, and so you will hopefully now start to see lap times in the 118s, but more sort of the mid to low 118s. It's going to be tough regardless, and I'm hoping that we can see. I'm hoping to see like a 118, sort of 118.5. I mean, 118.9 is already impressive. It's just purely how are these boys going to do as they come through. Nickton is the person I've got my eyes set on right now. He's someone I predict to be up there in P1. He's going to make me look a fool if he doesn't, because I've predicted him to take the pole position. And Mizzo, it looks like he's on fire today.
Yes, looks like he's the one to beat on the circuit right now, and Nickton is going to make me look like a fool if he doesn't get a pole position today. But I think he's just getting full rhythm at the moment. But I don't think he's going to challenge at the moment for his beat his time, because he's on low ERS. Nope, he's actually bumping the ERS to 4. So he's not one of those ones where he has ERS mode 5 for the whole lap. He just tries to balance it as much as he can just to get the best possible lap time, because otherwise you're going to run out pretty quickly. I'm just going to see if there's anyone going to cross the line before him that I could follow. It's all we just seen a Red Bull that's just bowled it in Sky. That was, I think, it was Ryan, I think it was, or Rexon, I can't remember. But anyway,
it was Ryan, yeah.
Yeah, it was Ryan. So Nickton, our person that both of us predicted is going to get pole position. Is he going to beat Mizzo's time? Yes, he does, with a 1:18.0. Wow.
What a time. That is impressive. Can his teammate do the same, though? Let's see. Brownie's gone across the line. He's not improved. And Nick Copier has also done the same. He's not improved either. So as it stands right now, there's only really... I think that's pretty much it. Hazard's in the pits. I'm looking at Tortor, and he has not... he's not on a hot lap right now. He's definitely ended his race. So Nickton has done exactly as I anticipated. He's managed to get pole position with a 1:18.806. So beautiful work by him. We managed to get our P1 prediction nailed to the T. Mizzo there in P2. Meister takes P3. Brownie is following him on the second row of the grid. That is P4. Copy in 5th. Boemel's in 6th. Gooby in 7th. Beaker, who's our Season 1 reigning champion, in 8th, Yonti in 9th, Inaudible Gamer in 10th. He takes the final points position. Those outside of that, it's just Chillin who takes the best of the rest. In 11th, Hazard in 12th, Toto in 13th, Rexon 14th, Ryan, who did set a time but did unfortunately retire, is 15th, Superlead 16th, Tinamo 17th, and Falsetti, who got a qualifying ban, is down there in 18th. So, now you've had a little bit of an insight into the drivers and how quick they can be going around the track. What's your, just based on qualifying alone, what's your prediction? Do you think it's going to stay 1, 2, 3 as it is right now, or do you think it's going to change up a little bit?
Oh, it's going to be a close one, because like I said earlier, usually starting on pole may not be the best situation, and Mizzo had a very good lap as well, as he improved quite a lot. So I would expect someone like Mizzo to possibly challenge F Nick to pole as well. We haven't seen what Beacon can do as well. See, he can gain quite a lot, but he's got a 5. He got a 5 great place for great penalty as well as Rexon. So yeah, that's a bit of a big oof.
It's a big oof.
Yeah, so I'll just go through the standings quickly. But before that, oh no, we can't, because we can't do that. I would say, I think, because I think it's his favourite track. I'm gonna say Nick for P1. It's gonna be tight for P2 though. Well, I'm gonna say Mitsuo P2, and I'm still gonna say Hadid P3. Yeah, I think he's gonna gain 2 positions in the race, and he's usually much better in the race and qualifying. So yeah, I'm gonna say Hadid P3.
And that's a very fair shout to make. Hazard is somebody who you can expect to be keeping it clean on track and abuse the fact that everyone else gets penalties. It is useful to see. Unfortunately, for me, every time I predict Hazard in the top 3, he never makes it. And then every time I don't predict him in the top 3, he makes it. So for his sake, I'm not going to put him in the top 3, just purely because I hope that he makes it into the podium. So I am going to go ahead, Nickturn, still taking the race win, just purely because of how quick he can be and how quick he has been so far in this, in this whole session. P2, I think it's going to be close between Mizzo and Meister. And I think whichever one of those two doesn't come P2, I think will take P3. Ultimately, I think Meister probably will take P2. I think it's going to come down to who gets DRS at the last second the best and who can stay out of trouble the most. So, Nickturn P1, Mizzo P2, Meister P2 and Mizzo P3 is how I predict the end of the race will go down.
Yeah, so we're pretty much the same in terms of prediction, well, apart from P3. So, or a few people mixed around as well. Just looking at the tyres, we're seeing obviously the top 10 starting on whichever tyre they qualified their fastest lap on. We're just cheering the only one on the soft tyres. So I wonder how that's going to go, because he's going to go on the super soft towards the end. So just cheering, not going to have the best grip at the start of the race, but towards the end is where we could see some possible moves from him. The bottom lot, we've got Hazard on the medium, so that's a little bit of a gamble. It'll be interesting to see what he does. But everyone else is on the supers or the softs. Apart, Timo's on the softs, everyone else on the supers. So free mixture of tyres through the race. More crucially, we have most of them on the supers, so I presume that that is most likely going to be a supers to soft strategy, unless we see people bottle it in turn 1 and 2, and they'll probably go on mediums to the end. But yeah, supers to soft is where I would go at this race, I think.
Well, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, Hazard has gone for the long haul. He's going for the mediums off the start so that when he gets onto the super soft tyres later on, he will be a bullet on this track. Again, that's kind of just sort of reinforcing what I was saying earlier about how Hazard is able to keep himself out of trouble. And when it comes to the actual end of the race, because he's kept it so clean, he's able to claim so many places through penalties. But also on top of that, he's got such good race pace in general anyway. I do fully expect him to be up there. But now, all of the cars are filling into their boxes. We're just waiting for Rexon to be the last car in. As soon as he is in place, we will get underway with the Italian Grand Prix. Who is going to be able to get the best start off here? Is it Nickturn going to be able to hold on to P1? Well, we're about to see as off he goes. There's Forsetti already getting a drive-through penalty for jump start, and that's not good for him. He's already had a quali ban, and now he's trying to just recover his own race by doing that. Here comes Brownie on the inside. He's looking for a move inside of Mizzo. He's going to be able to do this lockup, this contact between the two of them. That's Meister getting a punt there from Brownie. He's doing absolutely everything he can to recover it back. Meister's not really lost out, but Copy, he has climbed so many places. P3 for that Williams driver right there. Mizzo drops down to P5. Buemos also gets a really good start. Yonti's trying the best to catch up, but look at Just Chillin'. He's up there in P7 as well. On those soft tyres, we expected him to struggle, and he just isn't so far in this Grand Prix.
Yes, Nickturn definitely showing the one tonight, as we've already got seeing some yellow flags, a few people dropping. Torta dropping it down to 18th, and he's retired from the session. Not quite sure what happened here. I didn't see what happened there, but everyone else, I think, towards the back of the field, pretty much got a very clean start, particularly in the midfield. So that was good to see as well. But we're already seeing some jumps in places. We've got Beaker that's gained 3 positions, and John T that's gained 2, so a very, very good start from them. But Nickturn is showing what he's made of right here. But Mizzo is just having a poor start right now. He's dropped 3, and he's got some making ground to do. He's not going to do. His tyres are even good, as Rexon just made his pass his teammate Ryan, and Torta's not happy with it whatsoever, as Brownie is going to try and see if he can make a move past John T in the Haas, and he's going to get some slipstream as well, as he's not going to get DRS. He's going to get the right hand side into turn number 1. John T covers him. It looked like it was almost going to be a double overtake. He was going to make it past Mizzo for a minute there, but he gets the job done on John T. John T's dropping positions like a fly at the moment, as Just Chillin' and Beaker's got past him as well, and Gooby. But a very, very good recovery from Brownie as he makes his way up to P6, and now his next stop is Mizzo. So great stuff from there, as Falsetti and Hazard are in the pits right now. Hazard must have been involved in some collision there. So yeah, I shouldn't have put Hazard in my top 3 now. I think I probably jinxed him, Ben.
And maybe, potentially. I mean, I have been informed that he did have quite a severe amount of damage on his right-hand front wing. I imagine that would have been going into turn 1, as that is usually the place where we tend to see the most amount of damage. Now, the problem for Hazard, though, is he did start on the medium compound tyres. And obviously that's going to really ruin his race strategy. He was hoping to keep it clean. He was hoping to keep himself out of trouble throughout the majority of the race, especially on those medium tyres, so that he could then make a push on the supers. But that's just completely ruined his race strategy. He's going to have to figure it out now and work out what he can do to get himself up the front runners and in a points position at all. I think realistically a podium is now completely out of his sights. He's going to have to just give it the full beans to try and get himself into, you know, even P8, P7 would be a remarkable place. And already the penalties have started to come in. We saw Buemels get a 3 seconds just a few seconds ago, and he's as he is right here on the back end of Copy, who's actually dropped quite the way off the pace. He's 1.8 seconds behind Meister, and Meister's right there chasing after Nick Turn. This is going to be a battle all the way to the end. I did expect Mizzo to be involved in it too, and it just hasn't worked out for him after the first lap of this race.
Nope, it hasn't. Just Chin and Beaker were having a battle going into turn number 1, and now they're still battling right now. And also the Force India of Inaudible Gamers also joining them as well. So a pretty good battling. It's kind of like a 4-car train at the moment, as Beaker was going to get that move done, and he's still in 8th place, so he's gained 5 positions there. We've seen the Sauber going a bit wide. I think that was Jonty. He's not having the best of races. Timo managing to gain up for lost time as well. So I think we got the Sauber of Jonty and Just Chillin trying to make up for lost time. Just Chillin back to where he is into P10 as he's doing quite well to try and fend off that, but he's lost a few positions from the Force India there, and I think Jonty may have the edge on just Chin at the moment. He's got some, he'll probably have some DRS. I think both of them have DRS, and but he's not quite that far to make the move stick at the moment. But the Haas is all over him into turn 1. It's going to be a replica move, but can Just Chillin fend off like he did earlier on? Oh, there's a bit of contact from Jonty and Just Chillin there. That might have been an issue there, but I don't think there was damage, so it's fine. Jonty's going to have another look though, going through to this long straight here. It is quite tricky to get it nailed down, so let's see what he could do here, but I think he had it much better this time. So well, there was a little bit of a slide from Jonty there, so he just got through Just Chin there up into P number 10, so that's 1 place lost from that, as Meister I think is in the lead right now. He's made his way past Nick Turn. I think we missed that whilst we were following P10 and 11. So like we said earlier, usually starting on pole is not the best way to go things, and I think Meister's just proved that, as all these seeing time penalties again. And but I know that Nick Turn is going to definitely be on the charge here, and he's not going to let Meister have P1 that easily.
No, definitely not. I mean, Meister's done a very good job to take that position. It was actually done on the home straight that they're on right now, as Nick Turn was just being DRS attacked from Meister. Meister's gone super defensive going in towards turn 1. Here comes Nick Turn looking for just a close of gap, to be honest. I don't think he's going to be expecting to make the position change anytime soon. Now, the benefit you've got of being the driver behind is you can apply as much pressure as you want to the driver in front, and you start playing mind games with them. You get the opportunity to bait them out a little bit, do a fake as if you're going to go for a dive. They start panicking about where you are on the track and start trying to close off their lines and make sure they keep it clean. As long as you know what you're doing, as long as you make sure you're not close enough to actually have a collision with them, you actually force them to use their ERS where they don't want to be using it and dumping it loads. And if you look at Nick Turn, he's actually got a huge amount of ERS to be used. He's got 100%. If you jump up to Meister, he's actually only on 68%. He's only running in mode 1 right now because he knows that Nick Turn was just too far back, even though somebody might need to tell Nick Turn that because he's so close to the back end of him. But when it comes to this next straight now, this is where you might see Meister dump quite a lot to try and break the gap, the slipstream just a touch. As although he's not, which is interesting. I mean, Nick Turn's also not using any either, but he has so much more to play with. But when it comes to this home straight now, I fully expect to be seeing Meister. Yeah, look at that. He's already moved into mode 4. He knows what is about to happen. Nick Turn is in mode 4 as well. He's so much closer. And I think we're about to see a switch of race leader again. It is Nick Turn slingshotting into P1 again. And I think it's going to be like this for the rest of the race.
Meanwhile, behind Brownie and Copy were having another battle for P number 3, and Copy is really closing onto Brownie right now. So the two Williams really having a really good race. A shame it's not like this in real life, because it is equal performance. Don't forget, if you are new to league racing, it's not realistic. It is equal. So if you're seeing a Williams up there in P1, it is not realistic. It's equal. So just to let you know, as John T has just gained another position. He is up into P number 9 as he's just gone, I think, past turn 4 and number 5. So he's definitely having a master of a race at this stage. But Meester, I think, is Meister, shall I say? Not Meester, I think I said that wrong. Meister has really got some working to do, but he is still he's on the pace on Ed Nickturn right now. So I could see him making another move again, and it's going to go through the whole of this race as well. Another person who I think has dropped position is Just Chillin'. He's all the way down in P11, and Rexon got past him earlier on as well, whilst we were seeing that battle with Mester and Nickturn. But yeah, Rexon's already on the back of Just Chillin' now. But let's concentrate on the lead, as Mester's still not able to get the move done yet, as Nickturn is already having falling away, as he is having much better grip on his tyres there. So but I won't be surprised if Meester's going to get the job done pretty soon as well. As Rexon just made his way past Just Chillin'. So not a good race for Just Chillin' in the Sauber. Yeah, it is a Sauber, and Rexon wanting to get some points and making up for lost time after his place grid penalty as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Meester's, I think there's going to be a continuous battle throughout the entire of the race. I don't think we're going to be seeing Nickturn and Meester's battle end anytime soon. Just Chillin', I think he made a mistake right here where he is on the track right now, last lap round. He just seemed to be falling apart a little bit. I don't know if he's just uncomfortable in the tyres or what, but he had an issue. There was a little bit of contact as well with Rexon on the exit of Ascari, and that's why Rexon actually backed up a little bit, let Just Chillin' back through again. Granted, it was all for nothing, because Just Chillin' ended up losing the position again when he came to the home straight after the DRS was enabled. And this time, just looking at Meester, he's so much closer this time round than he was last lap. I think he was actually preserving his ERS to try and make sure that he could do a very solid attack on this lap round. I'm looking at it, Nickturn. You can see how earlier when I was saying about how the driver behind really dictates the way that the track feels for the two drivers at the front. Because Nickturn doesn't have DRS. He's got no one really to use to defend with. So Nickturn actually has to use a lot of ERS on the home straight, whereas Meester just flicks a button, flicks his wing down a little bit, and actually means that he's able to slipstream after a Nickturn and just tear it down. And that makes a huge difference when it comes to ERS, because he has to flick onto mode 4 to defend. Meester doesn't, and that means he can charge it up. And Nickturn will eventually run out of battery, and then Meester, all he has to do is just wait for that to happen and then make a very smooth overtake on the home straight, as Mizzo is going to have to try and do the same thing as well. He's actually right there behind Buemels, who's on the back of Nickturn's teammate Copy. DRS being available again on the next corner. Who will be making the overtake? I think we're going to have to wait until the home straight before we see any more changes.
Looks like Mizzo will have a little bit of more of an advantage, as he's got slipstream from Bremels in front of him, but Copy won't have DRS. So I think what Mizzo's job is to do is, if any of these two guys make a mistake, then he could possibly get the jump on those two and possibly gain P4. But looks like they're running clean at the stake, going through Scully and about to go through Parabolica. Bremels is good. It was almost looking like it was going to get the jump on Copy there, but not quite, as he's managing to save his tyres a little bit there. And he bumps it all the way up to 4. It's Mizzo on 4. He's on 4 as well. Copy is on 4. So they're pretty much even Stevens, as Bremels are going side by side with Copy. Looks like Mizzo was going to go in the middle of him there, and Mizzo was going to take an advantage. Oh, there's a bit of contact as Mizzo almost went a little bit wide there, but he's dropped it down from where he was. So he's probably going to have Beaker closing up anytime soon. But Bremels is got the jump on Copy. He's now up into P number 4 right now. And he is looking on course to possibly get some good points this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Buenos did such a good move there on Copy. He was very calculated. He looked at it on the final corner, seeing whether or not he's going to actually make a pass there. He backed off a little bit, and that's why Mizzo closed up so close to the back of them. Copy did a very good job of being able to get the drive down the home straight and make sure he didn't lose any positions unnecessarily. He almost lost 2 positions. Like I said, there was a little bit of a touch there from Mizzo and Copy, and that's what destabilized Mizzo just enough for Copy to be able to hold on to P5. Obviously, Buemels had already got the job done, so there was no question as to whether or not that was going to be staying the way it is. But it's so good to see these drivers going so close to each other and keeping it so clean as well. I mean, Just Chilling is now back to where he was earlier on in the race when he first started. He started in P10 as a result of Rexon and Beaker getting those 5 players grid penalties. Both the drivers with those penalties have actually climbed up quite a lot of places. Beaker is in P7 and he's only 1.8 seconds behind this battle for P4, which is actually really quite impressive for him to see him. Yonti's coming to the pits and Rexon's actually following him in as well. What tyres are they going to go on? I'm pretty sure we're looking at mediums.
Yeah, I think so, because I don't think the softs are going to last that long if they pit now. Yeah, they are. Jonty's going on the mediums anyway, but Rex, looks like he almost changed on what tyre he was going to go on, but Rexon decided he was going to go onto the mediums as well, so that's going to go to the end. But Mester thought he was going to have a battle with Efnit, but Nitturn is about 3.5 seconds down the road, and Mester's under pressure again, but this time from Brownie behind. He is really catching up this race. We've seen a few people in chat noticing that Brownie's Mester's struggle there, as Brownie just made his way past him, and he's now up into P2. He's on the charge at the moment. I'm just actually going to see quickly how many positions he has gained. Let me just check quickly.
Oh, he's got a puncture. Mason's got a puncture on the rear left. That's what's happened. I don't know how he's managed to get a puncture so early on, but the rear left of Maester, he's struggling. That tyre is definitely rumbling like crazy. If you go on board and just listen, you can hear. Yeah, he's got a puncture. Yeah. That is brutal. So he will be having his pit, and he's lost so many places as a result. That is massive for Maester to be losing that. And we're already seeing, I think the other drivers actually took that as a massive opportunity to chuck themselves in the pits. So it's actually not going to be the end of the world for Maester to be having to switch these tyres at this point. He actually had the puncture in a relatively okay place to have. You wouldn't want it at the start of your lap. You'd want it sort of medium to, ideally if you're going to have one. You won't want any at all, but if you're going to have one, you'd want it to be further around the lap as much as possible. So Maester will need to recover as much as he can in order to get himself back onto the podium. Whereas Just Chilling, who's there right on the back end of TNMO, is he going to actually make a pass? He's not looking for a line. He's just trying to hold the angle and make sure that he keeps himself nice and tidy. That is interesting to see. I'm intrigued as to what caused Maester's puncture. I don't think there was any contact, because looking at it, there was 5/10 separating him and Brownie, and that Nicktown was quite the way up ahead. So he must have just burnt them into the ground. I've been told that his rear tyres were at 90% wear at the time of it exploding. So I think he just ran them to the ground.
Yes, because his right was roughly running at 85 and his rear left was 77. So that was close. I don't know how he managed to get the jump that quickly. Maybe he was pushing a little bit too hard during that battle. And I did say if you push it too much, that's what's gonna affect you a little bit. So yeah, that is a little bit of a shame there. But we just noticed that Nitturn is also pitted as well. He's onto the set of the soft compound tires. He's trying to make his way past through the field as well. As Copy, Beaker, Bremels, they're all going onto the pits now, and they're going to go onto the soft two. So that is the pit window that we were expecting going into this race anyway. So that's going to be towards the end at some point. So we're almost halfway into this race, and Nickturn is in the net lead of this Grand Prix. And he's got a good gap in the cars behind the Brownie, Mizzo and Copy as well. And can potentially on for a podium. Hazard is on the super soft, so he's going to pit in the next few laps as well. But don't forget, he is stopped towards the beginning of this race due to the fact that he was having some issues at the start. So he's on for 2 stop as well. Gooby on the mediums though. I don't know how he's going to manage on those medium tires, because everyone else is going to be on the soft. And Mester right behind, he's going to possibly make the jump on Gooby as well. As Gooby's disconnected. So it looks like it's going to be an easy move for Mester there. I'm not quite sure what will happen there, but already Mester's in a good position, as he's got his tyres are pretty much 1 lap old, and he's got used to them, and he's warmed his tyres up a little bit. And yep, he's now up into 9th. and had just got past him as well. So it was looking like to be a good race for Gooby, but hopefully he can join back soon, because it'll be a shame to end his race like that.
Yeah, his game crashed, unfortunately. That's very bad news. Hopefully F1 2019 will fix those issues. We shall see. It's only a couple of months away. It's 1 month away now, actually, 1 and a bit. Hopefully we get excited for that one. But right here, right now, we are on the F1 2018 game. We are on Italy at Monza. It's a very exciting track indeed, and we're already seeing a ton of action so far throughout. Just Chillin and TNMO had a really long battle that started on the final corner and just didn't end all the way into sort of turn 3. It wasn't until we got to the chicane that we saw Just Chillin had actually pulled ahead and done a very solid move on TNMO, even after it being such a long, drawn-out overtake. And that's why he's currently leading the race. Yes, it's not going to be net lead, as you can see, and Nick Turney's already on the back of both of these drivers, and coming the home straight, I fully expect to be seeing him overtake quite quickly past them. Will the softs make it to the end? It's doable, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the mediums will almost definitely make it to the end, but the softs, it's going to be a tight one. I think when they get to the end of the race, especially if you're Meister, because I mean, the fact that he blew his tyres up so much on those super softs suggests to me that either his driving style or his car setup just isn't quite tweaked to be tyre friendly. And that's why he had such a blowout on the rear left. Here comes that Nick turn on TNMO. And yeah, it ultimately comes down to how they can manage it. You know, there's a lot of things you can do as a driver to try and minimize the tire wear. You can obviously accelerate a little bit gently out the corners, or you can short shift. That also helps your tires quite considerably, making sure you're not in rich or overtake on the exits. So many different strategies that you can try, so many different techniques. And unfortunately, Meister couldn't use them all to his advantage. Just looking further back, actually. Obviously, Gooby's, I don't know if he's managed to rejoin or not. I didn't see his rejoin. It doesn't show him being an A either, so there is a possibility that it is him.
He's back.
Well, welcome back, Gooby. It's definitely him. He's locked up going into turn 1. He's had to cut the corner a considerable amount, and that's brought Rexon up now into P12. So it's going to be a bit of a tough one there for Gooby. He's been plagued with issues throughout majority of this season. Last race out, he was stuck in the pits until the end of the race, so that was a disaster for him. And now he's had a disconnection from his game crashing, so he's managed to get back in pretty quickly. It's just purely now he's down in P13, and for him to get into a points position, he's going to have to drive like a madman.
Yes, because he's got Rexon, Inaudible Gamer, and Jonty also on the mediums as well, so on similar strategies. So, and he's on much older tyres compared to Rexon. So, if I was them, probably Rexon will probably stay there, but it will probably be a close one. So it'll be good to watch those two battle towards the end and see what happens there. Basically, as I think we're going to see Nick Turner just made his way past Just Chillin, so he's now in the race lead of this Grand Prix, and he should be, to be honest. He's having a very stellar race so far, hasn't put a foot wrong. Shame that Metzger had that puncture there, but talking about setups and stuff, I think it's crucial. But Bremels and Beaker were having a little bit of a fight up into turn 1. Bremel just made his way past Beaker there up into P number 7 now. I was expecting Beaker to get the jump a little bit there, but Remel's had the edge there, and he's up into P7. But in terms of setup, you sometimes ballast may come into play a little bit there as well. They're removing the fact you can't change your ballast in the game in F1 2019, so it'll pretty much be an even playing field there. I think it's only 6, I think, in ballast. I'm not entirely sure, but that'll probably be interesting in tracks like Italy, where sometimes they can go high ballast, but we'll just find out as well. But Bremel's having the edge there, and he's a bit behind Copy. So if he wants to get P6, he's got some making up to do. Not much battles we're seeing on track at the moment, but we will see some soon as we go to the latter stage of this race. Looking forward to it.
It's very exciting to see, yeah. I mean, the battle between Beaker and Buemels was a really good one. I thought that Buemels he screwed up going into turn 1. He overshot it a little bit and had to take a very tight turn 2. When it came to turn 2, that's kind of where, like you say, you'd expect Beaker to really capitalise on that and just shoot off like a bullet with a better exit. The difference was, though, is that Buemels gave him nowhere to go. He actually put Beaker into the gravel, and that's what slowed Beaker's car down enough for Buemels to just shoot off a little bit, and obviously that's why he's up there now in P7, and Beaker's down there in P8. Beaker is not the kind of guy, though, who will just lay down and take it. He's going to purely get again on the aggression. He's going to give him everything. That's why you can see his ERS is so low, because he's just pushing really hard, trying to recover his ERS in this slow section here. The whole of Sector 2 is not really an area, except for that little DRS straight at the end of it. Not really an area where you're going to deploy a lot of ERS. It's purely just that little DRS straight in the middle. And I don't even think, to be honest, you'd be using Mode 4 very often. I mean, Beaker's chosen to do that now. But what you don't realise is that because there's not much of a braking zone between here and the home straight, there's not a lot of slow areas and not really an opportunity for you to charge it. You're now seeing Beaker on the run up to Parabolica. He's only got 25% of energy right now. So when it comes to this little braking zone here, I mean, he's going to charge up to, what's that, 30? Yeah, 30%. By the time he reaches the end of the home straight, I think he's already going to be in the single digits.
Yeah, I will not be surprised as Beaker's on 20%, or he is really bumping his ERS. I think if he wants to get the move done, he's got to be careful. He's on 6% right now, but he made his way past Gremels quite convincingly, actually, as they were on similar ERS for the whole of that last stint there. So I couldn't really quite tell who was going to get the jump, but Beaker... he's got to be careful with his ERS when he makes more overtakes. He's got to really save if he wants to challenge Bremels in that lap, because I think Bremels has had a bit more saving to do, and going towards the end of this lap, I think if Bremels keeps up at 40% or 60%, and if Beaker doesn't save a bit more, Bremels could have the edge again on Beaker, and that could cost him, as I think Brownlee's just made his way past Demo on Ascari, and he's into P3 for now. I don't think, I think we still got Just Chillin' and Demo still yet to pit, am I right?
Yes, yeah, both of them have yet to pit. They will be going from softs to supers, and I've actually been informed that the tyre conditions on TNMO is that he is very, very, very close to a puncture. He's timed it to the letter, and that's why he's now into the pits, ready to get himself on some fresh rubber and go again on the super soft tyres. He's done a really good, solid stint in this race. He's only got 9 laps to go. Super softs will easily go to the end of the race now. I mean, he did put those supers as far as you could possibly take him. Now, interestingly, Just Chillin', he's also done the same length of time on those tyres. And now, I'm not expecting his tyres to fall apart. The sort of setups that I've heard, you know, I've done a lot of practice with these guys, and I know that when it comes to actually practicing and the time setups, and the car setups that they do, they actually run for a very low sort of tyre wear setup. Just Chillin' in particular, he tends to do that. And it actually works out for him quite nicely. When it comes to race strategy, he's actually very, very, very quick. Now let's take a look at the leader. So he's 5.8 seconds behind Nick Turn. But then when you look at the pit stops, I think the pit stop here is about 20 seconds. So take 20 seconds on top of his 25. He's actually going to come out in P8. Which is huge for him. That's ultimately the best sort of place he could be right now, given the situation. And I think he's already a place ahead of where he was, 2 places ahead of where he started the race. And with him being on the super soft tyres, he will be able to charge throughout the rest of this race.
Yes, and he's played that strategy pretty well, Just Chillin'. I've seen him really manage his tyres quite well in a few races I've watched him quite recently. As I think he's going to the pits right now, and he's really going to try and make sure that he gains as much positions as possible. It's very important that his pit stop is clean as possible and fast as well. And he is stuck in the pits for me. Oh,
he'll be out, don't worry.
Yeah, it is fine, and I just need to check what side he is on. He's on the supers. Yeah, he's on the super soft. So it is going to be tight if he's going to make it to the end, but it has lasted 11 laps before. So he's just waiting for the perfect moment, decided when will be the best time to pit, knowing that he would make it through. And he's in 9th for the moment, but I think he's going to probably catch up. Jaunty soon has been on those medium tyres for quite a bit, 9 laps. So it is pretty tight. So everyone now has pretty much pitted now. So it's going to be a fight to the finish for all of these guys now as we get to the end of the race. Pretty much not going so well in terms of our predictions, apart from Nick Turner, who's really pretty much dominating. I think we can say that we've nailed P1 for now, unless he has a horrible end of the race, which we really hope he doesn't. But we can see Just Chillin' already gaining some speed on Jaunty already. So I think it's not a question of If he's going to do it, it's a question of when he's going to do it. I'm almost certain he's going to get the jump because the supers do last quite a bit here in Monza, and he's warming up those tyres pretty well. So possibly in the next couple of laps, he's going to gain another place, and that'll be P8 for him. But I think he's going to find Bremels is going to be quite tough, I think, to possibly get the pass on them. But Jonty, he'll almost certainly get that jump on them.
Yeah, indeed. So we've got a penalty rundown for you to update you as all the drivers have done. So Mizzo has 6 seconds of penalties. Meister has 3. Buemels has 3 as well. Jonty also has 3. Tinamo has 6. The Inaudible Gamer has 3. Rexon has 6. Fossetti has 3. Super Leeds has 3, and Ryan has 3 as well. So there's quite a lot of positions that can be gained. More importantly, though, Buemels having that 3-second penalty will actually play into the hands of Just Chilling when he makes the pass on Jonty, which we know is going to happen. It's already almost about to happen. So if Just Chilling is able to keep the pace going and use the slipstream DRS to its full extent, we will actually see him jump Jonty, and then it's all about closing that gap on Buemels. He can gain himself a good P7. There you go. That's the position done for Just Chilling. I mean, Jonty would have happily hop, skip, and jumped out of the way of Just Chilling there, because as long as he stays within the DRS zone, he will actually get DRS.
Oh no!
Crucial. That is massive there. At Nick Turn gets a 3-second time penalty. I mean, currently he's clear. He's got P1 still in the bag. But, you know, he's still going to have to really rein that in. He's got 6 laps to go. If you look at it from an average, he's done 21 laps and only gained 3 seconds of penalties. He's only got to do another 6 laps. So he's going to be laughing, really, in terms of that situation. He can afford to get another 3 seconds. And the way that he's driving, he might actually be able to get to a position where he's 12 seconds clear of Brownie by the end of the race. And 10 laps in on these softs, that's a really good job. That's a yellow flag sector 3. That's Rexon. Yeah, what's happened there?
I don't know. I do see a little bit of his M player drop a little bit towards Parabolica, but I didn't quite see what happened. He's lost a bit of his front wing as well, and his connection is quite bad as well, and he's retired from the race. He's out, and it was looking like to be a good result for him, and he was gaining a few positions, but unfortunately it's not meant to be. And don't forget, we still got a penalty under investigation between Rexon and Beaker for qualifying, so he's not having a good day at the office, I must say. But I think Jonty has just lost it in, I can't remember, that was, I think, the start. Oh, he's got to be careful. He's got a few cars going past him. Not quite sure what, he's lost a bit of his M play on the right hand side, so it was looking also like a good race for Jonty. He's now up and down in P14, and I'm just seeing where Just Chilling is in comparison to Bremel. He's around about 10 seconds. I wonder if he's going to make up 10 seconds in 5 or so laps. It'll be a tough one, but P8 for him will still be good. He'll be gaining 2 positions there, so that'll be quite nice. But yeah, not good for Jonty there to drop a few positions there. That put Hazard up into P12 as well, and I think Inaudible Gamer is now on the points, so that is good for him as well. So and Hazard could be a potential for P11, as Gooby is already having a good comeback already as he's trying to fend off Hazard, but Hazard stays where he is in 11th there. Hazard on the newer tyres, don't forget, and on the softest of the mediums and the soft, so it was quite questionable that if Gooby was going to get that pass there, as Beaker gets another penalty. But yeah, Hazard's now 2.7 seconds behind Inaudible Gamer. The softs do last quite a bit there, and Inaudible Gamer is on 13 lap used medium, so I wonder, can Hazard catch up and get the last point towards the end? It is going to be a tough one, because I don't think Hazard, I'm not sure about penalty for Hazard, I don't think he's got one. He might have got one, but
he's penalty free.
Oh, he's penalty free, so yeah, so it's going to be pretty much an even Stevens for those two if they want to get points. We've got yet another yellow flag in sets 2. Probably the game's not going to tell me where it is. No, it's not. So, a GG game. But anyway, it is looking good for Hazard right now, as Beaker's now made his way past Copy into P4. That was, I think, turn 4 and 5 again. Yes, it was. I missed that once again, but Beaker's on a flyer, but he's got penalties as well, and so is Brownie as well. So if he wants to get the pass done, it's gonna be a close one. I can also see Mester and Copy having a battle through the DRS straight here. I think both of them are gonna have a DRS as Copy just holds on. Or they just touched a little bit there. I don't think there was damage on them. They're going through Ascari now. Mester's on ERS mode 3, Copy, he's on 4. They're pretty much running on the same ERS mode battery as Mester actually bumps it all the way down to 0 until he gets to the straight. I won't be surprised if they are on rich ERS mode at this stage. There's a little bit of weaving from Mester. I think he was trying to get his tyres up a little bit there, but not quite close enough on this occasion. But I might be proved wrong going into turn number 1. He's got a lot of speed on the corner. They touched again ever so slightly, but that hasn't compromised Copy in any way. And hopefully his tyres won't die, Mester, because we seen that punch earlier on. Just hopefully he doesn't get a punch towards the end. He's got I wonder if his Jeff will be telling him his real life Jeff will be telling him how his tyres are doing, because that's one advantage of this league. They have real life people actually seeing how their tyre life is. And and Nitturn getting another penalty. I don't think that's going to cost him. There's 12 seconds down the road. So I wasn't expecting him to get another penalty though.
No, definitely not. But I mean, like we said earlier, 21 laps. He only got 3 seconds. I mean, 3 laps since that point, he's getting another 3. But he is doing a very good job of keeping it together and not screwing it all up. So it's good for him to have that 12.5-second gap. Doesn't really matter now if he does get another penalty. Meister, like you said earlier, you did see him get that penalty, the puncture, sorry, which is obviously not good news for him. Something else to keep an eye on though. Copy doesn't have a penalty. Meister does. So even if Meister makes this overtake happen on this home straight, he's actually still going to lose out to Copy if he doesn't build up a 3-second gap. Now the other thing to think about is that yes, he's going to cruise on past him here, but there's only 2 laps to go. And 3 seconds in 2 laps, Copy would have to have a disastrous run in the next few laps for that to happen. It's such a tough order to have. And Meister, who started out in P2, did such a good job of battling. Sorry, started out in P3, if I remember correctly. Let me just have a look at that. Yes, he did. Started out in P3, and so to see that Meister is now down in P5 and he's going to lose to P6 as a result of issues, that's just so frustrating for him to see. And ideally, we'd like to see him perform better than that. Now, Hazard has made the overtake happen on Inaudible Gamer. He's still close and battling with Inaudible Gamer in through turn 1 and 2, but he has now secured that position. He's done a very good cheeky little overtake now to take P10. It is only a singular points position, but a points position is better than a 0 points position. And Inaudible Gamer, he knows that the time is dying short. Yes, he's 16 laps in on these mediums. His tyres will be starting to fall apart, but so will Hazard's. It's purely down to Inaudible Gamer to close it up, and looking at the way he's driving, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He hasn't got the fuel to do it, but has he got the tyre wear to do it? Whereas Brownie, who's up there in P3, 4-10 separates Mizzo and Brownie. Mizzo is in trouble. Here comes Brownie like a bullet, tearing it down. There's Mizzo trying to squeeze him towards the end. There's no opportunity for him to do that as Brownie goes into the side of him. Mizzo and Brownie have contact. Mizzo still ahead by a nudge. There's Brownie into the gravel, and that means that Mizzo has held on. It was a very elbowy sort of overtake. It didn't work out for Brownie at all. He has got to do it all over again, and he hasn't got a lot of time to play with.
Nope, he has not, which is a little bit of a shame for that. He's only got one more lap to do it, and someone has just asked in the chat if Mester's got any penalties. Yes, he has. He's got 1. So that should answer your question now. And with that battle between Mester and Copy, actually, apparently, according to some people, I think he got a bit of damage for his front wing. I think his front was about at 38%. So that little cheeky battle did cost him a little bit there, but he's still managing to pull away. But I don't think he's going to get the jump on Beaker that he needs. And we are about to approach the final lap as Nick Turner is about to cross the line to set his final lap there, as Mizzo's doing a great job trying to recover all the way up into P2 as well. So that is good. And Brownie having a very good race as well, as he's got right on the back of Mizzo. So could we see a battle for the end between these two on track? I really do hope we do, because we do like last lap battles when we commentate, I must say. And we've just got a notification that Rexon is going to be under investigation again for intentionally retiring on track without valid reasoning. And I've seen another Red Bull bottle into turn one. That was Ryan. I thought I was Rickson, but he was out of the race anyway. But I must say, Nick Turn hasn't put a fault wrong since the start of this Grand Prix. He has been faultless. Apart from those 2 penalties he has had, he's managing to pull the gap 14.4 seconds. And I must say, it is his favourite track, and it just goes to show. And that's going to do well for the championship. There's only a few rounds, not that long to go until the end. And we're excited to see what other races we've got as well. I'm still watching to see if Brownie's going to have the edge, but let's just jump to Nick Turn coming across Parabolic, and now he's going to be celebrating. He can cruise towards the line. Not that much though, but Nick Turn comes across the line. He wins the Rwagnation Italian Grand Prix. Great result for him. But Brownie is on the back of Mizzo. It's going to be tight towards the end. But he doesn't have the pace at this stage to come across the line. I think Mizzo may get P2. No, he doesn't. It's penalty. So Brownie gets P2. Beaker gets P4. What about Mester though? Mester dropped down into P6. Copy in P5. Bremel's in P7. But just chilling. A very good result for him. Up 2 positions. Up into P number 8. So a very good win for Nick Turn. But Brownie, he's gained quite a few positions up into P2 there due to those penalties.
Yeah, there you go. So the final points position will go to Hazard. He worked hard to get back up there and claim the P10. He's been struggling just lately in his racing, in his pace. But he is P10 in a very solid position as well. Gooby managed to just take that position away from an audible gamer due to penalties again. And Yonti is the final driver to cross the line to finish the Italian Grand Prix. And what an exciting Grand Prix that was. So many overtakes, so many opportunities for drivers to make mistakes. And realistically, with the volume of issues that we actually saw there wasn't that very many in terms of mistakes. We saw, I think, 2 retirees, one of which was Rexon, who just made a mistake. Didn't actually bin the car completely. He lost his front wing and then through frustration did DNF. Obviously, that's been investigated after the race. We'll see what the stewards come up with that. But there he is at Nick Turn. Takes the P1 spot for this Grand Prix. Some 25 points added to his Drivers' Championship. That will help him in defending, trying to take Rayner. There is Brownie there on P2 with Mizzo on P3. But the ultimate question I've got to ask you now, Jess, is who is your driver of the day?
It is a close one because there's been a lot of great battles that we've seen throughout this Grand Prix already. It's a close one. Just chilling, managing to get his tyres quite well as well. I would have to say I was going to say Nick Turn, but he had those 2 penalties, so it wasn't that clean. But Beaker, P13, and he finished P4. That is a good result, but I'm not really that surprised, to be honest. He is the overtaking man, one of the best overtakers of the league, and he's also won the first season. So my drive of the day's got to be for him. But let's just go through the standings quickly. We've got Nick Turn, who has won the race with Brownie in P2, Mizzo in P3, Beaker in P4, Copy in P5, a good result for him. We've got Mester in P6. Luckily, he managed to bring his car home, which I think that was his main focus, due to that punch he got early on in the race. I think we were all praying that he was going to get to the end, and he did. Bremel's in P7, Just Chin in 8th, Timo in 9th. He started in P16, so that's a good result for him. And Hazard gets the final point position. And we've got Gooby, Inaudible Gamer, John T, Ryan, Super Leads, Falsetti, your final finishers, and your non-finishers, Rexon and Tortorb. I think Falsetti disconnected, but I would say I think my drive of the day has got to be Beaker, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it wasn't for Nick Turn's penalty, I would have given him driver of the day. But
yeah.
I
mean, Nick Turn, like you say, he had absolutely perfect qualifying. He couldn't have asked for anything better. His race was perfect as well. The only 2 little issues he had with his penalties. But I think I agree with you. I think Beaker absolutely deserves driver of the day. He started in P13 due to an issue that wasn't even his fault. He got involved in an incident that he had no control over, got penalised unfairly, you could say. And as a result, had to finish his qualifying in P13. Did mean he got to start the strategy that he wanted. Yes, I think he did. I could be wrong, because I think if you actually finish in the top 10 and then get penalised, I think you actually aren't able to choose your tyres. But anyway, he started in P13, and to drive as quick as he did and get himself up in a P4 worked so well. And so a massive, massive accomplishment for him to be able to do that. And he only got one penalty as a result, and he managed to keep himself protected from copy, albeit just about. But still, really well done by him. And that is it. The Rwagnation Online League Grand Prix here in Italy has been completed. So thank you everybody who tuned in to watch it. We will do some 5-lap races in just a few minutes, but I do want to say a huge, huge shout out and a massive thank you to Jess Games. Thank you so much for commentating alongside me. It's an absolute pleasure. And also welcome. I know you only just recently joined the Rwagnation community as a whole, but you've been welcomed with open arms, and we hope you stay forever and ever and ever. And yeah, thank you. Also, do you want to give yourself a little plug? What is your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is the same as my Twitch handle, JessGames95. I just recently hit 700 followers, so
Nice.
You don't have to follow me if you don't want to. But yeah, I do post a few things there. I also do a few. I commentate on a few other leagues as well. Not mentioning any names on stream because
you go ahead.
Professional of me.
You go ahead.
I do I stream for AOR whilst other people commentate. I do ILR as well on a Thursday night and a Friday night on a YouTube channel as well, but I know you commentate as well, so not going to try and get some of your guys to come to my stream, so I won't plug that bit there. So if you want to check me out and check that out as well. But overall it was a good race to commentate on, and thank you for letting me join, because yeah, and also I do hope Kai had a good having a good karting weekend so far, and I think he'll be probably back next week, maybe. Potentially. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm going to go see him tomorrow actually at the karting track, so that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, just something to note is that with the Rwagnation, there's no, plugging is completely okay in all respects. Like, we have no. The way that we're trying to create the community as a whole, what we're trying to do is trying to make it the forefront for F1 Online. We're trying to make it so it's a place where anybody who goes, I want to get involved in F1 Online, they come to the Rwagnation. I want to get involved in league racing, they come and look at the Rwagnation, and they go, guys, I'm looking for a league. Yeah, sure. What about this one? Look at WCR, they're a good league. What about AOR? They're a great league. Look at ERS, SRL, all these other names, MRC, DRC, all these different leagues that we got going on. We know we're not. There's such a bad culture going around in F1 esports where it's purely like, oh, you're in this community, so you're not allowed to talk to these communities. You're not allowed to plug your, over here and here. And what they don't realize is that by just helping each other out and actually looking out for each other, they will actually develop much further, because drivers will want to get involved with them. So, for example, I actually started commentating for ERS before I started commentating anywhere else. And they looked after me massively. A massive shout out to Hazard. He looked after me properly. It was my first ever league that I actually started commentating properly. I used to just do it as like a mess around in my own little 5-lap lobbies and 25% lobbies. I didn't realize that it was actually quite a big deal. I didn't realize that people were actually doing this. Then I got introduced to SRL as a result of that. Then I got introduced to AOR. Obviously, I only commentated once for them before I became a involved in the commentating team. Yeah, a full timer. So it's awesome, and it's good to remember your roots, and I think there's no point in burning bridges. So feel free to plug away as much as you want. Use the Discord to be, use it as your own little advertising place if you want to. If you've got places you're going to be commentating for, absolutely stick it in the Discord. That's what it's about. We're trying to give it like a hub for Formula One online. So please, you are part of this community. You are more than welcome to plug away. Thank you, and that doesn't stop from other people as well in the Rwagnation doing the same as well. So if you have any races that you're doing that you want to plug in the Discord, please feel free, because we support each other all.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I am going to jump back in the stream room. You are welcome to come with us if you want to.
Yes, I would be happy to, and I pretty much stay up as much as I want.
All night. That you meant to join in the song, but you killed it now. Thanks.
Wait, what? I don't know. What
you never heard the song, the All Night Long song?
Yeah. I just don't know the lyrics.
Oh, me neither.
Yeah. Right, I need to. I haven't raced on PC in yoinks.
Oh, here we go.
Right, I need to plug my wheel first. Hold on.
Okie. What wheel you got?
Logitech wheel.
Is it a really good one?
It's alright. It's pretty
You-
basic, but I think that's the only one I could afford. I couldn't really afford the Thrustmaster one or the Fanatec ones. It's too expensive, so it does
You
what it does
missed the
really. But
pun, though.
yeah,
You missed my pun. I'm sad.
what pun?
I said, is it a really good one?
Oh, I'm not good at puns. I'm so sorry.
I specialize in puns. Being a dad, it's the best thing I'm good at. Dad jokes and puns galore.
Yeah. Thanks, Tomo. Good stewarding tonight, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, Tomo. You are a lad. Have a good night, dude. Sleep tight. Don't let bedbugs bite. Dream of me. Right. I had to close my game because I buzzed it. So, you know, Raggy's poor attempts and trying to pull. I mean, first of all, I'm way past that point. I couldn't be any more locked down if I tried. I mean, the kids themselves, obviously, they are the biggest ball and chain ever. They are, as awesome as they are the biggest pain in my ass ever. They, like you saw earlier, they're putting mummy's clothes on and come running in here going, look, we're wearing mummy's bra. And I'm like, I don't want to see this crap.
Oh,
Get out.
God.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. It's my wheel.